I think this is about the setup we had it on last time.
I never know. I don't give a shit.
I know you don't. That's why I'm remembering
Out loudly.
Yes, out loudly. I think that's a word.
It is. I just said it, didn't I?
So you know my uncle Lou, right? You remember Lou? So all of my life, he had these things. They're in reality they were senior moments. But we called them Louisms. It's when
Louisms.
It's when he'd make new words. It would be like a fake conjunction. He'd shove words together like, I don't know, something like bigly or whatever, like something stupid like that, where he just makes up words on the fly.
Louism.
Yeah. He's kind of stopped doing that since he turned into a grandfather, which is really weird. But I guess his memory's coming back to him. He's reverse aging.
He's Benjamin Button.
Welcome back to the Dime Comic Bros podcast. I am one of your co-hosts, Spencer, joined by Collin.
Hello.
Jacob is
off on a secret hiatus mission thing.
Jacob is personally going to the Ukraine war effort to personally kill Vladimir Putin himself.
Yes, he is.
He will return shortly.
Yes. With a victorious trophy of his head on a pike.
Yes. So this week we are discussing Hellboy, The Bones of Giants, the comic version. So this was originally a novel written by Mike Mignola and Christopher Golden, which I have not read yet.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to read now because I'm interested.
Mm-hmm.
And it has art by Matt Smith, who seems to be the basically replacement Mike Mignola now, which I'm pretty down with.
Yes, he is. He has immaculate art.
He's really.
I follow him on Twitter, and like he posts like sketches and stuff. And I met him, and I told him that I am one of those stupid nerds that are like very picky about certain artists, and especially with Hellboy, at least with Hellboy especially. But ever since I read The Bone of Giants, I saw your art, and I'm like, this is the replacement for Mike. This is the only person I ever want to see do Hellboy comics ever again now. And I made him blush a little bit.
Yeah, that seems to be a lot of what he's doing. He does a lot of other stuff as well, but that seems to be his current like big partnership is working with Dark Horse and doing new Hellboy stories.
He's also doing Hellboy and Love.
Was he the one that did Young Hellboy, or was that someone else?
That's just someone else.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure. Don't quote me.
Yeah. But that's just really cool. So yeah, this was originally a novel that I didn't remember until I was like looking up this book when you picked it, and I was like, oh crap, I forgot that that Mike and Golden actually wrote a couple of books. Because there was some of the stuff that Hellboy in Love is like basically like officially canonizing was from a different book, but that wasn't written by Mike. I think he signed off on it, but like I don't think he wrote that one. So I didn't remember that Mike had like just written novels in the Hellboy universe, which is pretty cool.
With me, it's anything that Mike has drawn or written and or now Matt Smith has drawn is canon in my head, no matter what.
Every time I say Matt Smith, I'm still thinking Matt Smith.
I know, from Doctor Who.
And the other now Morbius.
Oh my fuck, don't even remind me.
Yeah, so this is a story focused on Norse mythology. Thor fucking dies, bites the dust, and then Hellboy picks up the hammer and is like, woo, I now have the spirit of the Thor man. And the King of the Frost Giants is there's a cult around him and his former death, I suppose. There's a cult to resurrect him. He gets resurrected. He fucks off, and then they fight. Honestly, the plot of this one is really simple. It's kind of my only. I have like two negative takeaways. Everything else is positive. One, they're small. They're just things I noticed. One,
they're called Spencer-isms.
No, they're general criticisms.
Okay, go for it.
So I think for being a new miniseries, you know, like a fill-in story. This is in like 88 or whatever.
Sure.
I think it's surprisingly light on Hellboy implications, and like themes. I was actually quite surprised. It's not like it doesn't have any, but it focuses more so on the cool shit and like just continuously demonstrating, like a lot of the stories during that time period in Hellboy's life did. Oh yeah, he can wreck shop, and we should be probably scared about this for later. But like that's it. I'm not saying that that's a problem. It was just kind of surprising that this had not that much on like the Hellboy side of the story. It was really focused on the mythology and the action, which is fine, especially for a miniseries. It's just a little odd because it makes it feel like an extended short story, but most of the short stories were like very thematically tied to Hellboy. It was about implications of what he is, what he'll become, etc., etc.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like it's some big deal. It's just
okay. I can see that. So another takes Spencerism. No, I genuinely get that. Like, once you said that, I get it. I'm like, yeah, they were all kind of like that, but there was also some of them, quite a few of them. I would say it's half and half. Half of them are story implications, and half of them are just kind of like him fucking around. Like, there's some stories that's like, okay, this didn't add to anything.
Yeah,
and then the shortest fucking stories are the ones that actually mean something to the story. I'm like, okay, that was kind of weird, but Mike's Mike.
The short stories were like kind of a mixed bag of weird stuff, which was the point.
Yep.
It's just a little strange because it's a 4-issue miniseries that's like this. The vibe of the story like any of the themes or whatever. This feels like a single short story, like a short story, and it's like it just feels like I got extended for a long time, and it wasn't quite punched up to have enough meat on it, which I think is more so to do with the fact that it's adapted from a book than it is a problem with the story itself. I think reading this with the thing in my head that this is a book made it make a lot more sense the way that it's structured and the way that it's paced. Like, the two people who wrote the book wrote the comic, so they know what's the most important parts. Mm-hmm. But it's still an adaptation, which means a lot of stuff is going to be left on the cutting room floor because it's a 4-issue comic I read in 30 minutes versus a book I'm assuming would take at least a few hours.
No, I'm pretty sure it's not a full fucking book because there's, as far as I've seen, there's only one book and it's tons of stories. That's it. So I'm pretty sure that this is like the same. This is probably more pages than the book will actually have. I would actually bet money on that.
It's fine. It's not like it's some like big net. It's just like it's more interesting to
ponder. It's just a thing. It's just a story. It's just a good thing, and also it introduces us to Matt Smith.
This is true.
Because I'm pretty sure this is his first book.
I think so, which is weird because I think this came out 2020 or 2021.
No.
Was it before that?
No, later. 2022.
Really?
Yeah.
Damn.
I got all 4 issues in 2022.
Holy shit.
I read all of them, and then I talked about them.
Weird. Yeah, I just hear Peanut's teacher voices when you talk, because I know that's what you hear when I talk, so, you know.
No,
like, I don't remember what you talk
about. I hear, like, fishbowl noises. Like, I'm in a fish tank,
that's interesting.
And then I just hear going, wah, 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 wah. No. I hear wah, 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 wah.
Okay.
There you go.
So, I really like that it's a story focused on all the Norse stuff, because that's something that Mike
heavily was influenced by.
He did it. He was influenced by, but he chose to avoid using it directly for most of the primary Hellboy stories, which I appreciated.
Even though the beginning 6 issues was the big event was called Ragnarok.
Yeah, he used a lot of like names and like vibes, for lack of a better term, but a lot of the actual story specifics or character stuff, a lot of it he just made up whole cloth, and a lot more of it was like Anglo-Saxon stuff, which is fine. So it's just cool to see what like a fully unleashed like Norse story setting is like, because this is just like 100% like almost 1-to-1, just like, yeah, so I just shoved Hellboy in the middle of like a old Norse mythology book, just shoved them in there, and that's pretty cool. Which also means it's really exposition heavy on like Norse stuff, and because every translation of different Norse stories and myths and stuff have different spellings and different pronunciations on words, I don't know how to say anything because every time someone does it, it's different.
I kind of disagree on most of the part. At least with Norse, it's kind of like they're all the same, like even names. It's not like any of the other religions where everyone has different fucking ways of saying it. It's usually just and
That sounded like really racist Japanese, but okay.
no, it's
No.
no, it's like Yolden Minor.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Stuff like that.
We're
or
too American.
It's Jotamir. The fucking snake. It's So we have Mia Mia, and then we have the Jotun. Their names are hard. They are hard, except for like fucking Freya and Frey. I always get Freya and Frey mixed up. They're like literally the same.
But they are both fuckable. So win.
Not for me, but for you. You're welcome.
Okay. So
okay, one's a fucking dude.
So art-wise, this is phenomenal stuff.
Yes.
I really like the choice to go with like what is effectively a more accurate version of Mjolnir because it's actually kind of small.
Yes.
It's like a hammer.
Yeah, because if you read the actual stories, it how the hammer is supposed to be like a sledgehammer basically, and because of Loki trying to fuck up the dwarves, dwarving, it just became literally a really, really tiny handle that a fist can grip. That's it. It's not like a two-handed. It's not like a little bit extra so it's comfortable. No, it's small. And then the hammerhead is a regular like mallet type of head.
Yeah. It's not like something I'm ever terribly worried about when it comes to Hellboy type stories, but it resists the urge to use the more basically superhero-fied versions of those characters, whereas I don't have a problem with that. I like parts of how they're done in a lot of different, particularly Marvel Comics does this fairly well with a lot of their gods. Some of it's abysmal, but like they readapt them so much, which is cool, and some of the stories are phenomenal. But this resists the urge to use that more like new context or new reinterpretation. It jumps over that time period entirely and just goes back to the source material, which is cool. I appreciate that. It shows a willingness to do research.
After researching Norse mythology more and getting into it because my dad was always into history and mythology and stuff like that, and looking at other people's interpretations of Mjolnir, I really like everyone else's adaptation of the magical hammer rather than any of Marvel's. It's got more character, it's got more definition, it's got those like engraven images and stuff like that. It's not just like a fucking cement block.
Yeah. I mean, I like that for it serves its intended purpose. It's not supposed to be. It's not
supposed to be the thing that's always like. I mean, it is the center of the story, but it's not like always kind of in frame. Thor and his like feelings are usually like the main part of the story and stuff like that. But it's always his feelings are wrapped around Mjolnir, so you can say it's supposed to be, but it's kind of
it's a
semantics.
Sure. But it's like it's similar to that thing where Marvel does this especially, where they do something in the screen adaptations and then they feed that back into the comics, and now the comics do the thing that the movie did where it was adapting from the comics, and then like Shang-Chi has this despite the current run being really good, they changed the 10 rings and now there's 2 sets of 10 rings and now they have armbands, and it's like I get the fact that
there's 2 sets of 10 rings?
Yeah, they're different things entirely now, which like I get the appeal of wanting to make it like, hey, you watch this thing, here's a thing that's really similar to it. It's like doing MCU variant covers. Like, of course you want to do those. It makes sense business-wise to get new people in. But sometimes it just leads to really uncreative stuff, whereas a lot of the Marvel Comics universe, like 50% of it's just diet MCU, and then the MCU is diet OG Comics, and it's just a mess. Whereas this just avoids that whole...
And it all just becomes
conundrum.
Moxie,
Right.
which is shit.
No.
You said right, I caught you.
No Moxie slander.
Here, you heard it here first, folks. Spencer agreed that Moxie is shit.
No, you're shit.
Okay, at least I can admit it.
We strain your shit through a cigarette butt, and then we mix it in with mud water, and that's Moxie.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, Moxie is shit.
Yeah. I honestly don't have much on this story otherwise, besides the fact that I really enjoyed it. And I'm very interested to go read the book. And I'm glad that not glad. I enjoy the fact that it remains slightly linked to other stories, whereas we have a couple of characters coming back with similar character arcs and then biting the dust. But it maintains a small thread to another story, but they're not plot related whatsoever. It's just, oh, I know this guy from this other story, and he would be useful.
I really like how, so the thing is, whoever is able to wield the hammer has the power of Thor, right? So that it kind of takes that as like a possession thing, as in whoever wields it literally becomes Thor. So like during this whole book, Hellboy can't let go of Mjolnir because that's how it fits. That's how it really fits into the whole Hellboy thing, because it's a possessed item.
Yeah.
And it possesses the user that holds it. So I think technically anyone could wield it in a sense in this universe, but whoever wields it is possessed and literally just becomes Thor. And I really liked that, because in certain moments you just see Hellboy become not himself at all, and he's saying, like, his text becomes like a golden, and he's like a muddy, like a mustard, like a muddy golden color, and he's just screaming in like whatever Thor slander
Thor
is.
font.
Yeah, Thor font is. And it's just the funniest shit to see. So I'm like, yeah, that fits. Also, of course, he's holding it with his right hand.
Well, of course.
And it's so funny because the hammer looks so small in his Fist of Doom.
His
I love
fist is about the same size. It's very entertaining.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like this. I would love to get more stories like this. Not just in general, just little more disconnected miniseries, which I think every time we've been talking about Hellboy comics for the last infinity, the fact that what they're doing right now is just more miniseries has been like a unanimous good thing for them.
Touch me again and I'll feed your innards to my goats. That's what Hellboy says because he got possessed.
Yes. Yeah. Solid. Good. Nothing.
How does Thor know what a car is? Because he just said, turn this car around, little man. We go north.
It's Thor. Don't ask questions.
I love it. I love it.
Thor. They can't use the character that much because Marvel don't ask questions.
Yeah, they can. It's open source.
It gets open source. No, open source. What are you, a Linux user?
No, not open source.
Public domain.
Whatever. Yeah, it's public domain.
Public domain laws are extremely sketchy because you have characters which have typically it's all Disney, but like characters will have traits added by an adaptation, and then that just becomes the new norm. But that thing is the trademark part. So say Winnie the Pooh. I love Winnie the Pooh. I love the old Winnie the Pooh stories. I love new Winnie the Pooh shit.
Yeah.
You can't use the red shirt unless you're Disney. But everyone, when you think of Winnie the Pooh, thinks of the red shirt.
Yeah.
Except Winnie the Pooh lapsed into the public domain. That part of Winnie the Pooh lapsed into the public domain for like 5 minutes this year, and then we had that really bad horror movie I don't want to talk about.
Oh, yeah.
But that's the game. That's why, particularly with Disney and then Marvel by proxy, that's the game, is we'll readapt these things and we'll make it so ussified that you can barely separate the two versions, so you just can't touch it. That's the game.
Except for God of War did, because they had an actual Thor.
Yeah.
Thor in every way that he is.
Literally. But that's the game. IP laws are bullshit. Don't at me.
That's why if I'm going to use Thor at my comics, guess what? He's going to be a total fucking dick. Because Thor's a dick.
Chunky boy. Mm-hmm. Anyways, moving on to other dick.
Love this book. I give a kiss.
Oh, he literally kissed it.
He did.
So moving on to Mandalorian Season 3, Episode 2. So, Mando goes to Tatooine to get a fucking droid and then leaves. Thank God. And then he goes to Mandalore to go take a bath. He gets abducted, and then Grogu has to go find Bo-Katan.
Yeah.
and then Bo-Katan saves his ass.
Yeah!
And then he takes a bath, and then they get attacked by a mythosaur, and the episode ends, and it's a cliffhanger, and I hate it.
Okay, I'm gonna be one of those nerds. Bo-Katan wants him so bad. She so does. She's like, let's get rid of him once and for all. She's like, I told you I wanted to be alone. And then his son comes up. He's like, my dad needs help. And she's like, okay. And then she's all strutting over. I'm like, damn, she's fucking caked up. And then they go and find him, and she's all whoosh whoosh with the fucking Darksaber, and it's not heavy to her at all. So she's like, meow, meow, saving his ass, and eventually, Mando is like, I gotta go take a bath, lady. I'm all stinky. I'm not worthy anymore to wear this helmet. And then she's like, all right, I guess I'll have to come with you while you take a bath. So then they go, and she's saying, like, it's not going to do anything for you, right? And then he doesn't care. Takes off, the stuff that would actually help him to escape what took him. And he speaks the creed, because he knows it by heart, and she looks at him all, like, flustered. She's like, oh damn, he knows the creed. Maybe I should get back into Death Watch. I like this man. And then he gets abducted, and she's like, oh shit, my big strong man, I gotta go save him. She jumps in, goes saves him. Come out. She just gives him a look.
So
she wants him bad.
So I don't remember if we talked about this very much during season 2. I don't think they were conveying any sort of real romance.
None at
there,
all.
But
that's why I never said it.
But now, they're definitely implying things this season.
Because she's looking at him a lot.
I like the way that they're using their difference in culture and interpretation of Mandalore and their very, very different life experiences as a catalyst for the relationship. It's not just, damn, they should bone. I think that... I really like that. It satisfies the brainworms because I really like all the Mandalore stuff pre, like, The Great Purge. I really loved how they used it in Clone Wars and Rebels, and I find it really interesting and blah, blah, blah. And I like how we've seen Bo-Katan in so many different settings and so many different, like, states of Mandalorian culture. And it makes for her to actually be a fairly complex character, especially for Star Wars standards. And... that's what they're talking about, despite the fact that they have really strong disagreements constantly, and she's like, I'm gonna fucking kill you, you dumb bitch. Like, it's clearly...
But also, you're in luck. That's what turns me on.
I think it's... I'm a bit of a sucker for the... he's kind of oblivious... And then she's like, "Oh damn, he's oblivious."
Yeah.
I despite the fact that it's literally just a gender swapped version of like a really long-standing annoying trope where it's like really weird. It like the generic like, damn, she doesn't know that she's pretty. I will love her forever. Like, like that thing. Like
I like that swapped. We need that too. We need that too, boys.
You need to take a Xanax.
No.
I just like how they're developing it as a more complex thing. It's not really a chemistry thing, and it's kind of one-sided for now. And I just like that because I think that Bo-Katan is... this episode kind of cemented it. I think she's going to be the co-lead for the rest of the series.
Mm-hmm.
I think.
I hope so.
I think that's their end game. That's the... Because I've been over this so many times. The fact that they kind of fucked the whole structure of Din Djarin's story and probably changed what they were going to do with it when they decided to bring Grogu back so quickly, I think that's going to be his end game. I think by the end of this season specifically, or this arc in the first half, I guess, like he's not going to care. He's going to be pulling himself out of the cult with her help, and then that's going to be like his new like the new status quo is gonna be them and their retarded little wrinkle baby going across the galaxy doing shit. And I like how, despite it being covered in a lot more positive Grogu stuff than I wanted, there's a lot of this that smells like the first episode, which is what I kind of wanted the season to be. I wanted it to be a season without Grogu, where it's evident that his life is worse. He's not happy. He has to. He's a. He's not a well-rounded person.
No,
he's not well socialized. He has problems that he needs to work on, and I think it would have been more interesting to spend a lot more time with that. But I'm glad that they're not just dropping that entirely.
Yeah,
because like that's a really interesting thing, and I like the contrast between the two, like cultural stuff. That's really cool, and it's fairly well written dialogue, despite a lot of the other dialogue in this episode being kind of rough. We're gonna finish him once and for all. Literally kill yourself, Dave. Sorry, no, that was John. That was John Favreau. Kill yourself. Bad line. Bad line. Cringe. Cringe.
Oh, can I say? I want to talk more about Bo-Katan. She caught me and Grogu red-handed because Grogu was staring at her, and then she says, "What are you looking at?" And I'm like, "Oh damn!" I rewinded that like twice over so I could see her facial expression as she said. I'm like, "Damn, why do I like that?" I got problems. I've got problems.
He's just realizing that he has a mother-shaped hole in his life, and he's like, "Ooh,
yeah,
I like her."
I do like. Hold on. That's something else. What's it? There's a lot of green, and I love this. Like even when we go to see her castle. There's a lot of green. Also, what the fuck is she doing just moping on a throne all day?
Yeah.
Like, is that the only place she sits? Huge ego. And she does. And I was going to talk about something else about Mando. So, have you heard that the reason why we got all this fuckery was because the Mando arc, there was actually supposed to be a Mando arc of like him not having baby Grogu, and he wasn't actually supposed to be in Book of Boba. That was supposed to be season 3 because of which lady that owns Disney made it that way so that they could keep making money off of Grogu. And Jon Favreau refused to work on season 3 if she was going to touch it at all.
Okay, so here's the deal with any sort of Kathleen Kennedy conspiracy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I run away from it like the plague because 99.9% of that is fucking weird, sexist bullshit. I don't like her very much, and she doesn't own it. She just runs it. But
I know.
I also, because she's just turned into like this past couple of years has been like Gamergate 2.0 right now. And it's like all stinking Star Wars, Kathleen Kennedy, woke bullshit. I hate it. It's all conspiracism and retardation. I think those decisions are perfectly in line with how Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau make Star Wars. I just think that it is. Of course, there's going to be some mandates from further up the chain. Both of them love redoing Clone Wars stuff and jerking off their own characters. This is a known thing. They've always done it. So I really feel no need to scapegoat it onto somebody else. I don't care.
That's why I started out with a rumor. So, Jacob, delete that whole part of it because it's just we're putting stuff out into the world that doesn't need to be there.
Nope.
Even if, for some reason, someone further up at Lucasfilm specifically said, hey, we need to do this, I don't really care. It still falls on the writers and the directors who worked with that material and did it poorly.
Mm-hmm.
That's as simple as it is. Despite the fact, I'm gonna rewatch it, and I think I'm gonna come around a little bit more. The bones of Boba Fett are really good. The bones are there, but the meat is
the
bad.
Tusken Raider shit's awesome.
Yeah, there's a lot
That's
there.
just fire.
And there's a lot there that's good. And there's a lot of, it's just all the stuff with like the second half of season 2 and then Book of Boba Fett into this is like,
speeders, the fucking retarded kids, the stupid spin.
I don't mean the specific things like that are just cringe. I mean, you chose to make a 3-episode detour to talk about Mando, to make Mando episodes in a different show.
Mm-hmm.
If it was 1 episode, I would have cried about it, but it would have been 1. And now he's key to the finale of the fucking show.
Yep.
And their reunion, like all of that. It's just that was a written choice. You chose to write it like that.
You chose to wrote it like that.
Wrote it. Shut up. I don't care if that was like a very clear decision from on high. It probably was. Duh. It's a money-making machine. But they still did it poorly. And like I can acknowledge that like external circumstances are bad, but also like you still didn't do it great. It doesn't give you an excuse to make it bad. It's like anything with art with limitations. Limitations can be good.
Yep.
That's why the nightmare sequence at the end of Justice League is like kind of retarded, even though the scene's cool.
Okay, now that we got into Zack Snyderisms, we have to move on. Spencer has talked too long.
On the point of green stuff, I do like the aesthetic that they're going for the ravaged Mandalore, because basically the planet got glassed, which is a thing that me, being a Halo nut, I'm a very, very fond of, because the Covenant love glassing planets. It's a really cool process. So I think
it's a really cool process that annihilates the entire planet.
It's interesting, like on a science basis.
You're such a nerd.
The place gets so hot that everything turns back into silicates. That's really cool. But especially with the contrast between the concept art at the end of the episode, I definitely think this had a little bit of a lighting problem. It wasn't abysmal. It's more not talking Book of Boba Fett and Obi-Wan type really lazy lighting. It just, it felt a little too greenish, washed out. Every scene. It wasn't that bad. There was some, like, I think IGN, obviously bad, some IGN reviewer or whatever that was like, this is like watching the end of Game of Thrones where everything's dark and I can't see. And it's like, okay, that's overkill. That's retarded. It's still lit fine. It's just, I would have preferred a little bit more diversity of the color palette. But it still looks pretty good. And I like how, I don't think it's a one-to-one of what we saw in Clone Wars and Rebels, not Rebels, but in Clone Wars, because I think we've seen this exact location before. I might be wrong. Don't quote me. It's been a while since I've seen those arcs in Clone Wars. But I like...
It's the same scene where the Death Watch jump out and they take out one of those senator... what's the word I'm looking for? The people that protect the senator, not security guards. What it was?
Bodyguards.
No, that's another word.
Whatever.
Anyway, yeah, basically like one of the bodyguard cars and shit like that.
My point is, I don't care if it's a one-to-one. It feels about right, and I think that's more important. And I think it's more important. Like gut feels like this feels about what I remember Mandalore would look like if they just tried to wipe it off the face of the planet.
Well, yeah, and I feel like if you tried to wipe it off the face of the planet, you wouldn't really be able to notice everything. You'd probably be like, oh, that's a statue. That's like the bottom half of a statue of something I remember. Oh, that's where I am right now.
It's
something
just,
like that.
It's more of like a general vague structures and like geography rather than like the literal like, wow, look, I remember there was a thing here. I don't care about those sorts of specifics. That's, I think, focusing on the technical more so than like the actual storytelling of it.
Yeah.
To go back to the little bit at the beginning,
I'm about to do that. You're hogging all of this, so I'm gonna fucking take over for a second.
You had a 5-minute Bo-Katan rant.
You have the whole fucking podcast. You definitely take over. You do. Let me interject. So I'm glad that in the beginning, when we go back to Tatooine, we're not just gonna do a fucking walkthrough of Tatooine again, and we're gonna get the fucking droid that he wants. I'm glad that we're not like just going back. Hey, I know we blew up this character. It's supposed to be emotional. Oh, we're gonna bring him back because we want to, because stupid writing. It's actually like, oh no, you can't do that. So now I think he's going to not care about getting that droid anymore, which is good. And because he already has a stupid astromech, and they're already on Mandalore, which I was actually surprised that we had it this early.
I would have rather had them pursue the IG robot rather than it's R5 from A New Hope.
Whatever.
That's, I feel like, more... I would rather have it be like, this character from our show that I have specific memories with, I would like to go pursue, versus, hey guys, remember that droid that blew up in that one movie? It's tiring.
No, it doesn't feel like that to me, though. It doesn't feel like it's, oh, remember this droid? It's just more like, oh yeah, the shitty droid. Yeah, I think he was in episode 4, but whatever. Here's a shitty, anxious droid.
I just don't...
So that we don't have to, like, bring back a character again.
I just don't really feel the need to go back to Tatooine again for a 5-minute scene that could have been resolved in the previous episode. It's like when the title card hits is when they're finally in space again. It's like, so it was 5 minutes to get I don't remember what the actor's from, but the mechanic lady, she's like it was originally a cameo role for like a celebrity, and now it's a regular recurring role. and I'm getting really tired of her. Like, I love the pit droids. I love the derpy pit droids. That's one of my things. It's like the stupid B1 battle droids. I like that sort of dumb Star Wars shit. I'm getting so tired of going back to that. Even though it's less than I was expecting, it's still like, this could have been resolved last episode in 3 minutes, and then the whole episode's on Mandalore.
I think you're freaking out over something so abysmal that there's no reason for you to be freaking out about this. It literally didn't last 5 minutes, and we're gone. We're out. We're not going to Tatooine. We're fine.
But my point is, when you write a scene, when you do a screenplay, the point is, if you can just delete a scene, then it doesn't belong there.
Yes, I understand that.
So
you needed it just so he can get the fucking droid.
I know, but the fact that the whole first episode was already about that is like, it's not even necessarily that the scene itself doesn't belong there. It doesn't belong in this episode. It's like
Wait, okay, I understand. You could have been like, oh, IG unit can't have him? Okay, I guess droid. Could have just been in the last one instead of him trying to find that stupid part. We literally just went there to find a part and said that you can't get it. I understand.
It's like, in metal albums, a lot of the times they play the whole thing through and then they place the song cuts where they kind of overlap in the transitions. It feels like that, where it's like, this is not, it makes sense, but I don't understand why you put end card here, title card here. Like, it just feels weird. It's just a screenwriting thing that irks my brain.
I understand. It's fine. Get over it. That's it. Just get over it.
Cyborg creature thing. What in the fuck was that?
Remember, Star Wars. I don't know, but I really liked it because it looked very new and not just like another battle droid from episode 1 or episode 2.
I like that it was, one, obviously it's just a really fucking cool design. I hated the jump scare because it was really lazy. There was no build up to it either. That's what really went about it. It's like, if you're gonna do, like, you're gonna traumatize a 6-year-old, but okay.
Yeah, that's how it should be.
It just felt like a lazy scare, but I like the design of the crab unit, and then like the smaller one, it's like the same thing, and then when the head detaches, it's still like the same vague shape.
Yes.
Obviously I think the implication is before they leave Mandalore, I think they're gonna spend the next few episodes on Mandalore.
That'd be cool.
It's obviously it's gonna go crawl and find another body and whatever. Because it runs off. Like, they're gonna do another thing with it.
I want to point out, we never knew where Din Djarin came from, correct? We just knew it was somewhere where Death Watch.
Like the planet?
It was a moon. Until this episode. What I'm getting to is, I don't remember us actually knowing, even vaguely, where he was from. We just seen scenes of where he was from.
Maybe. I don't remember.
And I thought it was cool, and it made more sense. Like, oh, that would make sense how he immediately got abducted by Death Watch. The moon's right next to Mandalore, and it's in a Mandalorian, or a system where the Mandalorians are vaguely always at.
Yeah.
At that period of time.
Yeah.
So I thought that was really cool, and I never realized that Bo-Katan must be sulking so fucking hard, because she's not just like somewhere in the galaxy. She's right next to the planet that she grew up at that she can't go to.
Yeah, she's being she's being a dramatic bitch.
Yeah, and she's making it worse on herself.
Yeah.
Because she literally set up her... It's just as bad as Darth Vader making a castle right where he got, like, toasted.
Yes. So my point on the robot, cyborg, is that I like that it's just implied... what it's not implied. They don't feel the need to be like, oh, so it's clearly drawing your blood so it can sustain itself because it's clearly a cyborg with an organic unit. It's like, duh. It's pretty obvious what it's doing. Just for once, they're not hand-holding. I appreciate that. Despite the fact that it's still kind of a little goofy where it's like, wow, like one robot and then we got to go back to Bo-Katan already. It's a little weird, but whatever. The baby chase was kind of funny.
I liked that.
It's working its magic on me, and I hate that. I hate that the fact that I'm like, I don't want the kid here, and it's still kind of playing it.
Stop being such a baby hater.
It's playing it well enough where I'm still laughing and I'm still giggling at the baby doing dumb baby things. I just find it interesting how, like, despite its baby size and speech, intelligence level is definitely about. It's like a 6 or 7-year-old. I
Yeah,
think
he's
like
7.
like he's got enough intel. He can take orders directly, but also he still goes spinny chair. Wee.
Yeah, he's still a kid.
I don't know. It's cute. I
Come help my dad, please.
There's a couple of parts where I was impressed that they used the puppet version, or at least I think they used the puppet version instead of the CG version, because obviously the flips are CG, whatever. Which is still so funny every time. It's like, oh, look at the little lump of cloth.
But he is moving around, like, physically. It is definitely a puppet, like him trying to get up to see Din.
That's what I was about to point out. Was that specific? I was like, that's a little janky. I like it.
I loved it.
Looked like it was.
It looks like Star Wars.
It looked like they were actually using the puppet to climb up the steps instead of like. That's a pretty easy, in comparison, like that would be much easier just to do in post. And I appreciate that they took the effort to do it.
Yeah.
My only thing that I have left on this episode is I liked I don't remember what they're called, but the other
race of whatever.
Yeah.
That popped through the walls.
Bo-Katan said the name, I don't remember what they are.
Yeah.
I liked those. They're clunky and very awkward, and I'm sure choreographing with those is going to be a pain in the butt, but like
those are new.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like I like the fact that they are new, and they are a full creature design, and they're a big prosthetic suit. Exactly.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, look, turtles.
I immediately saw that. I'm like, oh, Spencer's going to cream.
Yes. Because, like, they're basically like Gamorrean guards, kind of.
Yeah, yeah.
But they chose to not make them Gamorreans. They're like, let's make another thing on another planet. It doesn't make the universe continue to feel smaller, where it's like, wow, there's just pigmen on every planet. It's like, no, those are native to a few places. And then this place has their own weird race of things, I guess. And yeah, she kicked their butts. I love that she pushes away the little baby stroller.
I know, I loved that. She's like, she's so much more aware than Din. Din's such like a fucking retard sometimes. Because he's got like one thing on his mind, he just keeps going, and she's like, let me look around. Hey, baby, move away while I kill some things.
It's just nice.
Mommy's got it.
It's nice to see, whereas he can be very good. He's a great shot.
Yes.
He's a wide range of skills.
He's an amazing pilot.
Yeah. But it's nice to see that the beginning of the first season, it shows off, it's like, yeah, oh damn, he's such a cool badass. And then it's like over time, basically just by contrast, you see that like
the more you get to know him.
Yeah, but every other Mandalorian is better than him. Like, he's just a dude.
Even though he is the Mandalorian.
He's the title character, but he is not, so far, a very important one in the scale of things.
You don't want him to be, do you?
No, I do not. Because otherwise, you should have just made the whole thing a Boba Fett show, because that was what the original plan was, and they said, nope, we're going to make an original character who's not important, but he's important to the story. You can make any character important to their story. Make it his story, don't make it someone else's story. But he is also adjacent to, like, yeah, but Bo-Katan is, like, basically Obi-Wan's sister-in-law, kind of.
Yep. So I would be okay if we got to a point where every Mandalorian, like, acknowledges, like, eventually is like, okay, yeah, you're the Mandalore because of so and so and so, and then he's like, no, I'm not.
I think that she's going to be the Mandalore again, and he's gonna be like the trophy husband.
Yes. I fucking hope so.
Obviously,
dude, I'd be a trophy husband any fucking day if it was Bo-Katan. Are you kidding me?
I just think that that's kind of the arc that they're setting them up on, and he's going to be less focused on, like, I need to be the biggest, baddest, I'm the biggest bird, just let him chill out and just be like, I'm going to take care of the baby, and then she's like, yeah, you're going to go make me a sandwich.
Okay, that's going too far. But, no.
I don't know, I like that vibe to it.
I like that. I also really like that Din is, like, teaching, like, we get to see him teach Grogu about how to be a Mandalorian. He's like, you gotta know where you, like, he's doing dad stuff. He's like, you gotta know where you are in the universe. You gotta know how to map it out so you'll never be lost. This is, and also, so there's that. I'm gonna jump back to the bath scene where he's talking to Bo-Katan, and she's talking about her sister and how, like, they fought. She, like, died fighting, and then that's probably where it, like, really clicked for, like, their chemistry, quote-unquote chemistry, where he said, this is the way, and she's like, oh.
Yeah, despite the fact that she's like, okay, you're kind of being cringe, it's like, for him, that means something. To her, she doesn't really care. And it's it's acknowledging each other's cult. It's becoming less hostile about it. It's
Yeah.
like, I still think you're dumb and cringe, but I appreciate that you're putting in the effort in a way that you know.
Yes.
Yes.
I really like that. But back to Baby.
Ship.
Yes, I actually ship them so hard. I hate shippers, but like this one, I really do.
Bring back the big minivan spaceship.
Yeah, dude.
Because he went from driving a minivan to a Honda Civic.
I said that.
I know.
You took that. Yeah.
But he needs to go back to the minivan.
I know. That's what we need another minivan. So I'm so torn because I'm really pissed off. I'm still pissed off that they got rid of it. But it's got to be a new ship. You can't have that same ship. I don't like when shit goes back to exactly the same. I just think that you need to capture essence and then build something new, but essence. It's all about essence. It's not the exact same shit.
Watch Filoni and Favreau make him one of the many owners of the Millennium Falcon just to make you upset and me upset. Watch them do the worst thing possible. I like this episode quite a bit.
I love this episode. And that was a good tangent we went on.
It felt a little short, but
a lot of good stuff happens.
It just feels like it's messier than it has to be. All of the ingredients are definitely there, and it's just like, you could do better with the same exact ideas. To do the same things, it's just a little sad. Whereas, like, the first season was sharp as a tack. And then, yes, because of the contrast of the one better TV show that I won't say the name of, it's like, damn, the cracks are showing, which is sad.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so in Spencerism, to explain Spencerism to our viewers, I liked the concept, but hated the execution.
That just means it was an interesting idea. No shit, that's everything.
Moving on.
Wow, that's interesting. But yeah, they didn't do
Moving
it.
on, I suck and/or dick.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're fucking retarded. I understand, but you literally have so much autism. It's unbearable sometimes.
Uh-huh. So what have you been reading? I literally said
I said it first.
Well, I talked
first, so you have to go for it.
Collin.
Actually, Spencer, I said it, so you have to tell me what you've been reading or watching, so go. I made Dad mad, guys. Dad cannot pull up thing fast enough, so Collin, talk to viewer. Viewer will have to listen to Collin, so there's no cut in this, so that we can have someone just keep talking.
Watch Jacob cut you anyways.
Jacob, please don't cut me. I do not bleed correctly. I spew everywhere.
So I read Nightwing Volume 6, The Untouchable.
Ooh.
So like I said when I went last week where I discussed the first...
You read them all?
Yeah. So, like I said last week, whereas the first chunk was all one creative team, and it was all one big thing. That's easy to tackle as one big go. After that, it's a mess.
So really? What a surprise.
So we're going one book at a time. Nice and easy. So this was written by Sam Humphries with primary art for... I think the first half was done by Bernard Chang, and I don't remember who did the second arc. So there's 2 arcs in this book. One of them is like 4 issues. The other one's like a 2-parter. So a serial killer, kind of, comes to Bloodhaven from Dick's past. There's this guy. I don't remember his name, but he the judge. He rizzes people the fuck up. And he's he'll sit there and be like, "Hey, you want to do this thing?" And then they're like, "I do want to do this thing." So the book opens up with him like convincing a old lady on like a casino vacation that like, you want to impress your friends. You want to be remembered before you die. You should go kill this guy for me. And she doesn't. That's his that's his shtick. It's barely explained, which is really cool. He just tells people what they want to hear, and he convinces them to do stuff, and his calling card is like a gold casino coin.
Is that Rumor's dad from Umbrella Academy?
Bridge? bungee jump, no cord.
Eat ass while I shit in your mouth.
Okay. So Dick encountered this guy a couple of times as Robin, and then one time between being Robin and before he became Nightwing. So he was just like in street clothes one time, and he encountered it by coincidence. Basically, the guy's like, look at all these casinos. Cringe. I don't like this. And that's kind of the whole thing. It's just him finding different officials and casino owners and whatnot in the city and convincing them to, unalive themselves in creative ways or to expose X, Y, and Z bad things. The implication by the end of the story is that he is... crap, I don't remember the character's name. It's like a folk legend from Bloodhaven that, like, this old, like, original pilgrim, whatever. And he got thrown into the blood, the blood with the two dots, the port, and sank to the bottom of the ocean, and the ocean brought him back, and that's why he leaves wet footprints everywhere he goes. It's one of those stories that definitely has magic, but they just are like, this is so weird, and then they just never explain it, which I like. I'm a sucker for those in like detective stories where like there's clearly some shenanigans, but they don't feel the need to over explain it.
Right.
So this was issues 35. The whole book is 35 through 41. The primary arc is, I think, 35 through 49, and then 40 and 41 is just another story. It's just a little two-parter. It was a nothing burger. I barely remember it, and that should tell you. I read this like a week ago, and I can barely remember. The two-parter was just nothing. The cool parts about this story, I felt, for obviously more than just the villain's really cool, is that it shows a lot of Dick Grayson's personal life, or lack thereof. He works like some shifts at a bar with which other characters owned from like the last arc of stuff. It's one of the carryovers is one of them like left him a bar or whatever that he could work at. So he works there, and he runs like an athletics gym, basically. So when he comes back from being Nightwing at 2 a.m, he takes like a 2-hour nap, and then he gets up, and then he teaches like self-defense classes and gymnastics and stuff. Which
I remember that.
I think that's really cool. And he's obviously always running late and always fucking it up, and people leave, and he doesn't make any money because, Dick Grayson, bad luck. So I really liked that. Like, it's got that Peter Parker vibe to it, whereas I think that's one of the things that Nightwing comics should typically have is there's a little bit of a Peter Parker feel to him. It's like a little, not a lot, just enough where it's like he's run through the mill. He has difficulty balancing his lives, but because he's an actual whole person, unlike Batman, he can actually cope with it most of the time. So he might lose relationships and stuff, but he doesn't internalize it, and he doesn't, cause psychic damage to himself when like stuff happens. He's like, I fucked up. People are leaving. That's understandable. I will let them leave. Like, he has a healthy response to things, and he self-regulates really well. Unlike Peter Parker, which it's a nice contrast.
I think that's why I really like. I'm just gonna just because I'm talking to you. I think that's why I like really like Nightwing more than Spider-Man. Even is because
they let him progress.
Let him progress, but also like. He's someone that's like really good to like not just look up to as in, oh, this is what not to do, but also like this is some stuff I should do.
So yeah, the story is nothing special. This was definitely a hey, we're having this creative team come on for a set amount of issues. This wasn't like a big announcement. This is the new people for the ongoing. It's like this is going to be a filler arc, which is fine. I have mixed feelings on Bernard Chang's art. On the one hand, he has a type of blockiness that I kind of appreciate. He has very like sharp, angular lines, and a lot of his character designs are really cool. His faces are a little rough sometimes.
A lot of artists are.
This is true. They're just extra rough, and sometimes the proportions are kind of wonk. I like that it has it captures a similar aesthetic like the previous books did, despite those all having different artists for different periods of them. It keeps the same vibe of Bloodhaven as a casino gambling port city that smells like old dead whales. I like that, and I think it's conveyed well through the art and the coloring, which I don't remember who did the coloring. It was solid, but it just was kind of underwhelming because nothing else really happened. It's just a really straightforward story, and Dick doesn't progress very much, which is fine. That's kind of the definition of like a really good filler arc, effectively, and that's not a negative thing. I bought it for cover price, which I think is $16. I'm pretty sure I bought this one at Stairway. It's worth reading. I don't like it as much as the whole first 5 volumes collectively, but I like it better than some of the books that were in that chunk, where a couple of those were kind of mid. You can't really zoom in, but the cover is also very good. Despite them continuing to push that really bad Robin design that they have to use now because that's just canon. That's what Dick wore. It's the ugliest thing on planet Earth. It's a really good cover.
Yes, it is.
Solid book. That's kind of it, honestly. It's just solid. Collin.
So,
damn, he be rumbly.
yes, with Spencer's help, I finally watched the first Creed.
Oh, buddy.
So, Adonis Johnson, Michael B. Jordan, never knew his famous father, boxing champion Apollo Creed, who died before Adonis was born. However, boxing is in his blood, so he seeks out Rocky Balboa, Sylvester Stallone, and asks the retired champ to be his trainer. Rocky sees much of Apollo in Adonis and agrees to mentor him, even as he battles an opponent deadlier than any in the ring. With Rocky's help, Adonis soon gets a title shot, but whether he has the true heart of a fighter remains to be seen. So, over the years of being a young lad, growing up in my grandmother's home on the weekends with my family, we watched various movies, and the Rocky movies appeared every now and then. And I remember seeing those at times. So I have like a vague understanding of like how that whole universe works. But I never really cared to watch it because me and my dad are the same, and we both never cared. But Spencer was like, or actually no, what happened was I saw the trailer for Creed 3, and one of my favorite actors that I can't even remember to name, who was
Jonathan Majors,
who
Abs
was
McGee over there.
Abs McGee, who was in The Harder They Fall. And I was like, damn, I want to watch this movie. He's really good actor, and I like when he plays kind of like bad guy roles. So Spencer's like, yes, get into Creed. Let's watch it. And I'm like, oh, I haven't watched anything else. He's like, nah, it's fine. And I'm like, yeah, it's fine. And I asked a couple questions before we went into it. And he's like, yeah, so there's this and this that you need to know. I'm like, oh, that makes sense. And then I watched Creed, and Creed was phenomenal. Everything about it gave me chills. There's so many moments that are like really good. And then Spencer was like, this is how you make a legacy movie. And I'm like, oh, this is how you make a legacy movie. You're right. This makes sense. I understand now. I've always been shown shitty legacy movies, so I always thought legacy movies were shit. Because I don't count Blade Runner 2049 as a legacy movie because it like barely touches the story of the first movie, which is fine because that's why I love it, because it's kind of like its own thing. I'm gonna suck Blade Runner 2049's dick all day.
Yeah, it's still my favorite movie.
Yeah, it's like one of my favorite movies ever. So Creed 1, obviously through the synopsis, you understand what it is. Rocky's got cancer. And he's telling Adonis that like we're not real family, we're fake. And Adonis with his big heart's like, oh well, fuck you. I'm sad. My girl, I now would go piss off my girlfriend by accident by like ruining her fun time with what she's supposed to do. But there's also like all these awesome like old man moments where he's like making fun of Adonis, and I love that shit. And there's just so many great moments in this movie. I give it like a 6 out of 7. I love this movie so much. I will watch it again.
You were genuinely squealing more than I was.
I know, because like I've never seen the fights, and then the fights made me like, oh, what the fuck's gonna happen? I don't know, because I know. That's why I like these movies. It's like the hero doesn't like fucking win all the time. There's no like actual hero and bad guy per se, but it's like our main character's not always gonna win. Like he's learning. Like they actually show us learning. Like yeah, he's got the bones. He's got the bones to make himself something better. But like he needs to grow into it, and then like finally, yeah, he wins the fight. But like definitely buy help from his team, and it's awesome. It's just very human, and there's like humans doing human things. I love that shit. It's just a great movie. I recommend it to everyone. I recommend it to my dad. My dad's like, you know what? I trust your take on it. We're gonna watch. I'm like, yes, Dad. We're gonna watch Creed, and we're gonna forget all about. We're gonna forget anything bad about any of the other Rocky movies, and just remember all the good stuff because that's what this takes from the Rocky movies so far.
Yeah, you were a squealy boy.
Yeah, dude.
I was getting excited. These movies rile me up real good,
Yes.
and I was like getting a little teary eyed. But you were like, every 3 seconds.
Yeah, dude, I was freaking out. I've never seen it, and like movies don't make me do that often. So, yeah, it was a great movie.
Very nice. Very, very good. Very good.
Yes.
So I read Batman/Catwoman, which is a 12-issue Black Label maxi series that is a pseudo sequel to Tom King's run on Batman, kind of. The book takes place over 3 different time periods.
Jeez.
We have the past, whereas it's the Bat and the Cat first falling in love when they were young and hot and in their probably late 20s. You have the middle part, the current, whereas Andrea Beaumont is now canonized and brought into the fold. And
I love
the
that.
Phantasm comes
Mommy.
back, and then Selina's all, oh my gosh, I'm being threatened by another woman existing. And then in the future, after Bruce Wayne has kicked a bucket, Selina is dealing with her daughter, Helena, who is the new Batman, the Batwoman, and Dick Grayson is the commissioner. You know, I like my little headcanon of he is still Commissioner Gordon because Dick would take Barbara's last name just because it would be funny.
He would.
He would do that.
He would. I'd be okay with that.
It's very
I mean,
funny.
if I was going to marry Babs, I would also take her last name.
So it's just a very precarious balance between the 3 different timelines and how they connect, and how they kind of don't. So this was written by Tom King, and the primary illustrations were done by Clay Mann, one of my favorite like comic cover artists and interior artists. And then some of the fill-in issues were done by Liam Sharp, who I have mixed feelings on. I prefer Bill Sienkiewicz for that type of a caricature style, but that's a me thing. So this is just a really confusing book because of the fact that it takes place in 3 different time periods and they don't connect very directly. So I'll just run through the highlights then, because it's kind of hard to explain all the plot stuff. So in the past, it's just them falling in love. They're doing Bat-Cat shenanigans. The cool differentiation is between the different time periods. There are different outfits. The past and present ones are because their ages are still kind of similar. They have the same silhouettes, but they have different details. Like the modern day quote unquote ones have like blue goggles and lights, whereas the old ones are like just cloth, like little details like that, which are really cool. Clayman has immaculate art.
Clayman is Clayman.
It's disgusting. It's so good. Which I think is a really nice detail. The Phantasm looks great and doesn't add much to the story, which is kind of disappointing for it being like a potential alternate future of what Batman will get up to, blah, blah. And it's like, so we're going to canonize a character from the animated series and basically act like that movie happened in this universe, which it did. And it's like, but it doesn't really amount to much thematically, which is kind of disappointing. Her characterization is interesting. She has a kid, which is a thing that kind of goes nowhere. And obviously, the Joker's extremely important to this book because
Of course, the Joker is always extremely important.
So he's in all 3 time periods. I don't actually mind his usage here, though. To be fair, I have a weird. I like particular. Tom King does this in particular, where he really likes going like canonizing the like Batman 66-esque foursome of Riddler, Penguin, Joker, and Catwoman as like kind of all being friends.
I kind of like that too.
I like it, but I like how he does it with like still an edge. He's still like, yeah, and Joker's still the loose cannon, and none of them really like him, but he's like that guy you let tag along who kind of takes over the group project. But him and Catwoman have like this weird relationship, and that's part of the plot is like what's going on here. It's a whole thing. I don't mind it. It's fine. It's not like that. It's just a thing that they're really vague about for the whole fucking book, which ends up being very underwhelming by the end of it. There are some very good characterization moments where in the past, Catwoman and Joker decorate a Christmas tree together, like in Selena's apartment, because he's like, hey, I'm the Joker, baby. And then he just comes by and she's like, you're a fucking dick. Help me decorate. And she's like pulling out, she's never bought a Christmas ornament in her life. She only steals them from other people's trees. It's really cool. Little details like that, where she'll just go to a department store and steal one of their ornaments. So it's all stolen stuff, except for, I think it's one ornament that like her mom gave her or something like that. In the future, the book starts off with the Joker living in Florida as an old retired man. And she kills him. That's like the big mystery of this book. It kind of is in the future, where, while the investigation's going on, is like, did you kill him? Because that's how the whole book is really about, like Batman's relationship with Joker and how Catwoman fits into that. It's like the love triangle thing, you know the deal. And she's like, yeah, I waited until he died, and then I went and finished it because I respected his wishes while he was alive. But he's not here now, is he? And I'm just gonna go kill all the bad guys now.
Finished what?
The mission. The mission, Well, the Batman's mission.
Oh, waited for Batman to die.
Yeah, waited for Batman to die, and then is like, yeah, so you were dumb and ineffective and stupid and gay, and I loved you, but you're stupid and dumb and gay, and then I'm going to go do it for you. And then she just starts killing people.
Nice.
I like that element a lot. Helena is really boring. So it's the original version of Helena is the Earth 2 daughter of it's somewhere in there. Further left. It's almost all the way to the left. Helena Wayne originally was from Earth 2, the original Huntress, and I've never really liked that characterization. I like how she was pulled into the main universe as Helena Bertinelli. She has no relation to the Waynes. As the new Huntress, she has a relationship with Dick Grayson. She became a member of the Justice League and I think the JSA. I like that stuff. But this characterization of Helena feels really boring. She's just like not Dick. She's just like Bruce, but like bland and a woman. Like really hyper-focused, no personality, just mission. And I don't like that. Not a fan. I do really like the characterization of Dick Grayson in the future as like Commissioner Gordon 2. He also smokes a pipe, and it's so funny to watch him as like a 40-year-old. The stuff with the Joker being an old man is very entertaining and surprisingly suspenseful. Yeah, Clayman makes the horniest art.
I have to get this book now.
It's a mixed bag. I don't know, man. Though I was intrigued by all the mysteries of this book, but a lot of them, because it went on for 12 issues and between 3 time periods, kind of felt underwhelming when you get the actual answers to them. Just kind of meh. I like that Tom King tried to wrap up parts of his Batman story after he's basically kicked off of the Batman title. And I like that. And I like that DC's giving him a second chance with Batman now, because he's writing a bunch of different miniseries for Batman characters. And I think that's cool, but sometimes he just doesn't hit the mark, and that's fine. Every writer has their bad days. The art, like I said, from Clayman, everything across the board is fantastic. Not a huge fan of the future Batwoman design. It's kind of mid. And the issues that are done by...
What the fuck?
It's a very silly book. The future... The issues done by Liam Sharp are fine, but I don't understand how they picked Liam Sharp for this. Because the two art styles have nothing in common at all, and they're tonally wildly different. And they're not used for, say, one time period is one type of art style or whatever. It's just a couple of the issues are just done by Liam Sharp and in his styles. And they just don't really work for that tone that the book's trying to go for. So that makes it more confused, I think, than anything else. It also includes the Batman Catwoman special, which was just like a little extra nugget of goodness at the end. I think it might have been included in like the Catwoman 80th anniversary special or something, which is a nice little story. So Bruce dies not in the field. This is a spoiler, but like Bruce gets radiation poisoning basically from, I don't remember the character's name. He's one of those, I have energy, bad atomic powers, and I will make you sick. Batman basically dies by like a B-level goon, which I kind of like. It's underwhelming. It's Bruce gets old and sick and dies slowly, which I think it gives you more character work than him just, heroic sacrifice, etc., etc. I liked this book, but it didn't stick with me as much as I wanted, which is the more disappointing part, because this was like marketed as like Tom King's magnum opus Batman piece and whatnot, and it just kind of felt like it dragged on and it needed better pacing to like be contained and whatnot and have a better plan. I'm not sure if there was any weird stuff behind the scenes that happened or whatever. It was fine. It's a very big book, which does make the $40 cover price kind of reasonable for how big it is. It's equivalent to like 14 big issues.
Someone's fighting people fucking pregnant.
Yeah. And it is a nice hardcover with a good a good like dust jacket, but I'm not gonna go back to this for a while. I might at some point. It's certainly pretty, but it's lacking a little bit of cohesion. Collin.
No, I don't wanna.
Collin, have you been reading or watching anything else?
Ask me a question.
God fucking damn it. I expect it every time, and every time I'm still annoyed.
I forgot. Well, I'm sorry. I was going to sleep over, and I was going to have my second talking point read, but I had drunk people at my house, so.
Ow, that hurts.
Yeah. Good job.
I'm
Fucking
dumb.
shaking your brain around.
No, it hurt my face detaching from my head. Like, the whole face was shifting around. Anyways. Accurate. Okay. Idea, sort of. Mm-hmm. So, the MCU is a thing. Mm-hmm. We know this. It's a known thing. With the characters that currently exist and potential characters that you could involve later, what would you do for a Midnight Suns movie or Disney Plus show? It's your defenders, but they're all spooky murderers. Which characters would you use, and who would be the bad guy?
So, not knowing Midnight Suns too much.
That's the thing, they're like a title, they're like a name that exists, but there's so few books about them because the team lineup always changes.
Okay, so that works for me.
Spooky bad murderer, the spooky men.
Moon Knight.
Yeah,
obviously.
Uh-huh.
Gotta have Moon Knight. Got Moon Knight. We're going to use Cosmic Ghost Rider. We're going to use I want to use Doctor Strange. And then we're going to use what's a good X-Men? For this? I don't want Gambit. Nightcrawler. There we go. I want to use Nightcrawler.
I was thinking Magic, but okay.
No, because we already have Magic.
I mean Magic, the character.
I've never heard of him.
It's a woman.
Oh.
Magic. It's Colossus's sister.
Oh, shit! I like her.
Yeah, she's one of the Sorcerers Supreme right now.
And
her and Doctor Strange are like besties. He's like,
take
hey.
out Doctor Strange.
Oh
We're
my
putting
gosh.
magic in.
Oh, okay.
Just because I don't want to use Doctor Strange, really.
Wow.
Also, Anna. Wow. Anya Taylor-Joy. Wow.
Yeah.
Anya Taylor-Joy.
Uh-huh.
Yes. So we're gonna use magic. Moon Knight, Cosmic Ghost Rider, and Nightcrawler.
You're gonna have a lot of explaining to do because Cosmic Ghost Rider is like an amalgam of two characters. And
yes.
Neither of them have been fully canonized yet. So that's
So for MCU,
that's a lot to do.
Well, MCU's fucked right now, anyways.
But yeah.
So why not just throw it in there? And the villain is going to be.
It's Doctor Strange, but he's upside down. Not like inverted. He's literally just upside down.
Yeah.
All the blood goes to his head, and he's very angry about it.
Take Nightcrawler out. Just three. Just
Wow.
a team of 3.
Wow.
Easier. Just a team of 3. Villain. Okay, so because I guess I want to. So I want to use Moon Knight because I just love Moon Knight and magic stuff, and because he's a fucking freak show. So we can have him being his weirdness. Magic because magic. And Magic Sword and Sorcerer Supreme, like Spencer said, but also Hot Lady. And then Cosmic Ghost Rider because I love Punisher, but I like how Punisher's not really Punisher when he's Ghost Rider, Cosmic Ghost Rider. He kind of is, but he kind of isn't at the same time. Also, Ghost Rider, I remember being like a part of Midnight Suns or whatever whenever it's talked about. So I wanted to do that. I thought it'd be a cool twist, and I just think it's cool.
I want John Bernthal to be carrying around a baby Josh Brolin.
Yes, dude, that would actually be a cool.
That would be so stupid.
Like one season show.
So fucking weird.
That would be so cool. I'd love that. I'd watch the shit out of that. And then they have to fight.
But instead of it being a Josh Brolin as Thanos as baby, it's just a baby that's purple, and then they plaster an adult Josh Brolin face.
That's what I was thinking. That's literally what you said when I
goo goo gaga.
Goo goo gaga, bitch. So in my brain, I guess I'm gonna go to DC real quick to explain what my thought process is. Ever since I saw DC God and Monsters, and we had like a baby Brainiac, that it's like destroying the whole city. There's something destroying the whole city and blah, blah, blah. And it's like Superman's got to go take care of it. And it's just a baby Brainiac that doesn't know how to control his powers. And it's really sad. And like the only way to stop him immediately is to like just kill him. And he kind of accepts that. And then Superman has to deal with that pain. I want something like that. A feeling like that. That like the reason that something's happening is not because it's on purpose. It's something that's just a cosmic entity that just cannot be controlled. And not baby Thanos. But like just a cosmic something that can't be controlled, and the only way is that we have to have Cosmic Ghost Rider just has to kill it.
It's baby Thanos with the Josh Brolin face.
Oh
but he can't stop snapping.
But he can't stop snapping. I hate you so much. He has both Infinity Gauntlets that we saw at Endgame, and he can't stop snapping. Oh my gosh.
He just really likes the sound of his own fingers.
Oh, I hate you. Anyway, it's a cosmic entity that the writers won't figure out till the last issue that we have to actually put it in.
Big squid.
I'm thinking, I don't know. I'll probably figure it out in the happy hour segment.
Wow. Cum.
So
It's
I think
a big cum demon.
I think that would be pretty cool, though. Yes, a big cum demon.
Yes, big cum demon.
I don't know. I just think it'd be pretty cool to have those three or something like that. Just like fight a cosmic entity that's not doing it on purpose. I like stories that are like that. It's sad.
Yes. I like sad things.
Me too.
You know what's not sad? Going to our Patreon and giving us money. If you want to support us financially, you can go to patreon.com/dimecomicbros network, where we have a bunch of different tiers with different rewards. You can get stickers, early access to all of our podcasts, exclusive access to happy hour segments, where after each podcast, we just kind of shitpost about random stuff, personal things, etc., etc. Usually we're having a drink or two. You also get your name shouted out during all of our episodes. So we need to give a shout out to Caitlin and Jeff Lorenz. They get a thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. There's also other tiers and stuff and things. You can get art done by Collin and stuff. I don't remember, even though I make the Patreon and I monitor it all the time, I don't remember anything because I'm dumb. Also, a big thank you to our partners over at Jetpack Comic and Games in downtown Rochester, New Hampshire. Over at the Mega Store, they have everything. It's a big, mega-sized store. They have trades, they have omnibuses, they have single issues, they got them floppies, they got magic cards, D&D stuff, some video games, some posters, all of your nerdy needs. And if they don't have it, they can find it for you. So yeah, go give them a visit and let them know that we sent you. Next week, we're going to have a bunch of news, more Mando stuff. Hopefully Jacob, maybe Jacob will decide to exist.
No.
He will come back with his trophy from killing, Putin. This is great. In Roblox, of course, he would never. Jacob disavows all types of political violence.
Only political violence. Regular murdering's fine.
That is, in fact, true.
Yes, I'm a simp.
Thank you and goodbye.